When most people picture a bear, they think of a powerful omnivore, a grizzly catching salmon mid-leap, a black bear raiding berry bushes and beehives, or a polar bear stalking seals across the Arctic ice. Bears are iconic for their adaptability, strength, and generalist diets. Yet when we turn to the giant panda, we find a species that seems oddly ill-equipped for survival when compared to its ursine cousins. Despite belonging to the family Ursidae, the giant panda often behaves, eats, and evolves in ways that make it a remarkably ineffective bear. While their cuteness has secured them a permanent place in human culture and conservation efforts, the giant panda's lifestyle reveals why they are not particularly good at being bears. This essay explores the reasons why, spanning diet, reproduction, behavior, physiology, and ecological specialization, the panda represents an evolutionary outlier, a bear that struggles to fulfill the role we might expect of a member of its family. If there's one area where the panda's reputation as an evolutionary misfit truly shines, it's at the dinner table. One of the most glaring examples of the panda's inefficiency as a bear lies in its diet. It's a choice so peculiar, so counterintuitive, that it fundamentally defines their entire existence. To understand how strange this is, consider their relatives. Bears are generally opportunistic omnivores, true survivors. A grizzly bear in North America might feast on salmon, berries, and ground squirrels. This dietary flexibility is one of their greatest evolutionary strengths, allowing them to adapt and thrive across continents and in vastly different ecosystems. Pandas, however, have painted themselves into an evolutionary corner. They've specialized in eating bamboo almost exclusively. Over 99% of their diet consists of this one plant. While specialization can be an advantage for the panda, it's a highly inefficient choice, a gamble that has left them walking a biological tightrope. And here's the core nutritional problem. Bamboo is a terrible food source for a bear. It's incredibly low in protein and fat, the very things that a large mammal needs to build muscle and store energy. Worse, it's packed with cellulose, the tough, fibrous material that makes up plant cell walls. For most animals, cellulose is completely indigestible. True herbivores have evolved incredible solutions to this problem. Mammals that rely on cellulose, like cows or sheep, have complex, multi-chambered stomachs. These act like fermentation vats, housing armies of symbiotic microbes that break down the tough fiber for them. It's a marvel of coevolution. Pandas, by contrast, have none of this sophisticated machinery. They retain the simple, short digestive tract of a carnivore, a system designed to quickly process high-protein meat, not to slowly ferment tough plants. It's like trying to run a diesel engine on wood chips. As a result of this profound mismatch between their diet and their gut, they are shockingly inefficient. Pandas absorb less than 20% of the nutrients from the bamboo they eat. The other 80% passes right through them, largely undigested. It's a system defined by waste. This leads to a staggering energy consequence. Because bamboo provides so little usable energy, a panda's life is a relentless, all-consuming quest for calories. They must spend up to 14 hours every single day just eating. To survive, an adult panda has to consume between 26 and 84 pounds of bamboo daily. That's like an average human eating over 40 pounds of kale just to meet their basic caloric needs. This constant low-grade feeding frenzy leaves little time or energy for anything else. The typical dynamic behaviors we associate with bears, like hunting, exploring vast territories, or even complex social interactions, are luxuries the panda cannot afford. Their world has shrunk to the bamboo patch directly in front of them, but here's the most baffling part of the story: the missed opportunities. Unlike other bears, pandas have abandoned meat almost entirely. This isn't because they can't digest it. Their carnivorous gut is still perfectly capable of processing a protein-rich meal. The reason is even stranger. Genetic studies have revealed that pandas have a mutated, non-functional gene for their umami taste receptors. In simple terms, they can no longer taste the savory flavor of meat. They lost the ability to enjoy the very food they are built to eat. They are, in essence, carnivores trapped in a herbivore's lifestyle, but without the right body for the job. It's a profound evolutionary paradox. This dietary mismatch isn't just a quirky fact, it's a critical vulnerability, and one of the clearest signs that, by the standards of their own family, pandas are simply bad at being bears. For most species, the drive to reproduce is a powerful, non-negotiable force of nature. It's the engine of evolution. But for the giant panda, this fundamental biological imperative seems to be optional. Another area where pandas struggle is reproduction. Of course, raising young in the wild is no easy task for any large carnivore. But the giant panda's challenges aren't just external. They are deeply, almost comically, ingrained in their own biology. While most bear species face challenges raising cubs, pandas seem to push the limits of inefficiency. It all starts with a ridiculously tight schedule. A female panda is fertile for only 24 to 72 hours each year. This isn't just a small window, it's a biological pinhole. Since pandas are solitary, finding a mate in time requires perfect timing and a bit of luck. Missing it often results in a year lost for reproduction. Compare this with other bear species like grizzlies, which typically have longer estrus periods lasting several weeks, allowing for much greater mating flexibility and a higher chance of success. For pandas, it's a high-stakes gamble every single spring. But even if a male and female do find each other at the right time, there's another baffling hurdle: low libido. Even when fertile, pandas are notoriously disinterested in mating. Much of this apathy is tied to their low-energy lifestyle. Their bamboo diet simply doesn't provide enough caloric punch to fuel vigorous courtship. In captivity, zookeepers often struggle to encourage natural breeding and sometimes resort to artificial insemination. While other bears engage in robust mating behaviors, pandas frequently display apathy, a stark contrast to the powerful drive seen in other species. Should a successful mating occur, the challenges are far from over. Panda cubs are born extremely underdeveloped, weighing only about 3 to 5 ounces, about the size of a stick of butter. This gives them one of the smallest neonate to mother-size ratios in the mammal world, at roughly 1/900th of her weight. These fragile cubs require constant care. The mother must cradle the tiny being 24/7, and if she gives birth to twins, which is common, her instincts often lead her to choose only one to raise. With limited energy reserves, she simply cannot care for two. In the wild, the abandoned twin has no chance of survival. This reproductive inefficiency, a short breeding window, low libido, and high infant mortality, would likely have doomed pandas long ago. Their continued existence is a testament not to their own biological prowess, but to modern conservation efforts which have heavily managed panda populations to prevent extinction. When we think of bears, we imagine strong, opportunistic survivors, capable of climbing, fishing, hunting, and scavenging. Pandas, however, appear almost lethargic by comparison. No hibernation. Unlike many bears that hibernate or enter torpor to survive food-scarce winters, pandas cannot. Their bamboo diet provides so little fat and energy that they cannot build reserves. Instead, they must constantly forage, even in harsh conditions, leaving them vulnerable. Poor hunters, other bears, such as grizzlies or polar bears, can bring down prey or scavenge effectively. Pandas have abandoned predatory behavior almost entirely. Their claws and teeth, while technically capable of handling meat, are mostly used for stripping bamboo stalks. They rarely take advantage of alternative protein sources, even when available. Low aggression. Many bears use strength and aggression to establish dominance, defend territory, or secure resources. Pandas are comparatively docile and reclusive, often avoiding confrontation. While this makes them endearing to humans, it also highlights their divergence from the bear archetype. The panda's body reflects its mismatched evolutionary path, leaving it ill-suited for both carnivory and herbivory. Carnivore's gut. As mentioned, pandas have the digestive tract of a carnivore despite their plant diet. This results in poor nutrient absorption and frequent defecation, so up to 40 times a day. Thumb, but not a thumb. Pandas famously evolved an enlarged wrist bone that functions as a pseudo-thumb, allowing them to grasp bamboo. While clever, this adaptation highlights just how far they've had to compromise to cling to their niche. Other bears rely on versatile claws for digging or tearing apart prey. Panda's thumb is specialized almost entirely for bamboo handling. Low energy lifestyle. Because their diet is so poor, pandas conserve energy by being sedentary. They move slowly, sleep often, and generally avoid expending effort. In contrast, most other bears are powerful foragers and hunters, capable of bursts of speed and endurance. One of the biggest reasons pandas are bad at being bears is their extreme ecological specialization. Narrow habitat range. Pandas are confined to mountainous bamboo forests in central China. Unlike black bears, which thrive in diverse habitats from forests to swamps, or brown bears, which range across continents, Pandas have tied their fate to one fragile ecosystem. Bamboo dependence. Because they rely almost exclusively on bamboo, any environmental disruption, logging, habitat loss, or bamboo die-offs, threatens their survival. Other bears, with their omnivorous flexibility, can shift diets or migrate. Pandas cannot. Conservation dependence. The giant panda has become the poster child for endangered species precisely because it cannot thrive without human help. Unlike more adaptable bears that continue to expand into human-altered landscapes, pandas struggle in captivity, have low fertility, and require constant intervention to sustain populations. To highlight pandas' shortcomings, it helps to compare them with their relatives, brown and black bears. Both are highly omnivorous, opportunistic, and adaptable. They consume a wide variety of foods, hibernate, and thrive across massive ranges. Polar bears specialize in hunting seals but remain formidable predators capable of long-distance travel and survival in one of the harshest climates on Earth. Sloth bears and sun bears, while more specialized, they still exploit diverse resources such as insects, honey, fruit, and small animals. Pandas, by comparison, appear almost helpless, clinging to a single food source, struggling to reproduce and unable to adapt. Despite all these disadvantages, pandas persist, largely thanks to humans. Their charismatic appearance and cultural symbolism have motivated enormous conservation investments. Habitat reserves, breeding programs, and diplomatic panda loans have sustained their numbers. Ironically, the very qualities that make pandas bad bears, their awkwardness, diet, and cuteness, also make them global icons. Yet in evolutionary terms, pandas are precariously balanced. Their survival strategy is not one of adaptability, but of clinging stubbornly to a narrow niche. Without human intervention, it is likely they would have disappeared. The giant panda is, in many respects, a bear in name only. Genetically, it belongs to the Ursidae family, a card-carrying member of the bear club. Yet its evolutionary journey took a sharp, almost whimsical turn away from its relatives millions of years ago. It chose a path of extreme specialization, a gamble that has left it in a uniquely precarious position. Consider its cousins. The grizzly, a true omnivore, will eat everything from berries and roots to salmon and elk. The polar bear is a hyper-carnivore, perfectly adapted to a harsh, icy world. The panda, by contrast, has chained its entire existence to a single low-nutrient food source. This lack of dietary flexibility is just the beginning. It lacks the reproductive efficiency, behavioral toughness, and ecological adaptability that characterize the rest of the bear family. It is a living, breathing paradox. It possesses the digestive system of a carnivore, yet it subsists on a diet of almost exclusively bamboo. A plant so nutritionally poor it must eat for up to 14 hours a day just to survive. It has the lineage of a predator, but seems to have forgotten the very instinct to hunt. It's a solitary animal that struggles with the complex social cues needed for mating, making reproduction a significant challenge both in the wild and in captivity. And we do love them. Their gentle, almost clumsy demeanor and undeniable charm have made them global icons. This adoration has translated into immense cultural value and, crucially, a worldwide conservation effort. But this very effort underscores the central truth. For all their appeal, they simply aren't very good at being bears in the traditional self-sufficient sense. They are evolutionary misfits, clinging to a precarious existence not through cunning or strength, but through a combination of sheer luck and the unprecedented scale of human intervention. Our conservation programs, breeding centers, and habitat protections have become an external life support system. Where other bears symbolize raw power, resilience, and adaptability, the panda has become a global symbol of fragility and dependence. Its story forces us to reconsider our definitions of success in the natural world. In the grand, often brutal theater of evolution, the giant panda is perhaps best understood not as a successful bear, but as a profound lesson. It teaches us that survival isn't always about being the strongest, the fastest, or the most adaptable. Sometimes, in a world increasingly shaped by human hands, survival is simply about being loved enough that others will move mountains, or in this case, plant forests of bamboo, to help you keep playing your part. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content.